Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lids, and we're back for some more Gwent, and today we're playing the new Our Battle Will Be Legendary seasonal event, which replaces our entire deck with only legendary cards from our faction. That means our starting deck doesn't really matter, but let's hop into the deck builder to take a look at some of the key combos we'll be looking to use. So today we'll be playing a Skellige Patricidal Fury deck, and in this event that means that we are going to have all of our starting cards replaced with every single Skellige legendary card. And there are lots of things that we can do in that case. Skellige, of course, has lots of damage, so no shortage of that. But we also have some more interesting and unusual things we can do on top of that. We have lots of forms of Tall Punish, so if your opponent has a high base power card, you can take it out with the Rupture. But if it's highly boosted, then use Morkvarg instead, or use a proactive Dire Bear to prevent that boosting in the first place. Fukusia can bring some things back from our graveyard, just needs to be 10 provisions or less, but if you can get a Melusine to hang out on the board for a while, then she can get her base power to be quite high, so that can be a huge tempo play, especially in a short round 3. And speaking of both graveyard manipulation and damage, Hjalmar can destroy a high base power card in our graveyard to deal a huge chunk of damage. Then you have Wide Punish with cards like Heimdall and Wildboar the Sea, as well as the classic Ernachad plus Sucrus combo, giving you tons of damage every turn. Throw that behind a Covenant of Seal and it is really hard for your opponent to do anything. We even have enough cards to use some self-damage synergies. Even if we don't have a 4-provision cultist to get out of our deck with Artist, that helps set up things like Olaf for boosts, Drake Eternal for more boosts, and even Svalbard for lots of damage on both our opponents and ourselves. Then the Callus can give you another way to get self-damage, or for the really ambitious, you might even be able to pull off Heim. And all those self-damage cards work really well with Melusine as well, which is just an incredible card in basically any event because she's so versatile. Then if you have a lot of damage units, you can use Sove to summon a card out from your deck, destroy it, and then get a huge boost on him. Movement and damage with Kraken, so you can disrupt your opponent if they play a row-locked card. And a little bit of consistency and additional graveyard setup with Coral, Burna, and even Iced. Before he evolves, you can also use Tyr with 1 leader ability charge to give you an easy target to get that resilience. So really, no shortage of options, and that's not even all of them, so lots of creative directions you can go in addition to the more straightforward damaging every single thing that your opponent plays. So let's go see it in action. Alright, so going up against Nilfgaard here, and they'll go first. And let's see, long round. Heimdall could certainly work well. Olaf, Svalbard, we have some self-damage cards here. And Melusine can work with self-damage, so this is not completely out of the question. And Artist can certainly do self-damage. You know, that is a little bit tempting. This right here. But it does make it a little bit tricky with our other cards. I think Lippy's hard to make work in this event. Oh man, there's some meme potential for sure. I mean, Heist and Burna technically do work together. So, I mean, Camby's probably the card that you would consider mulliganing here. But, we have some very interesting options. How we choose to use them is a different matter altogether. So, we could turn 1, use Artis, and just immediately make it so that any card that gets played is going to take a ton of damage. We'd kind of like to sneak in anything that we don't want to get hit with that damage first. I'm thinking Melusine. She helps us deal more damage to ourselves, which will eventually be useful if we're going with things like Svalbard and Olaf. But we don't really want Melusine to take the hit directly. So I think we still play her initially. And then it's probably going to be Artis. Okay, it's Jan. It's a little scary. And by a little scary, I mean that's actually kind of terrifying. Well, tell you what, highest provision cost cards are for the most part scenarios, and Masquerade Ball is very good because it's pretty easy to get aristocrats in this event, but I'm pretty sure it is impossible to trigger the cultist scenario, so that is a brick. If we could get rid of Fion, then Jan would be a pretty good target for the Rupture. But anyways, let's go Artist here. He is also a cultist, so that works well next to Melusine. Put you here. Obviously, we're not going to have anything to get out from our deck because we don't have any 4-provision cost cards at all. But we can do this. I technically have armor, so I guess it's not really something we're all that thrilled about, so maybe we'll hold off 1 turn. Sneck. Ooh. Okay. That's interesting. It does take the damage from Artis. On the other hand, and if we can destroy this, it backfires on them big time. But if it does go into our graveyard at the end of the round, if we don't destroy it, then that means we're going to lose. Melusine in particular would be a card we'd love to get out in the future with Fukusia. So that could be a bit of a bother. But now let's go with either Svalbard or Olaf. Both of them are of similar value to us. I think maybe we want a few more cards on the board before we use Svalbard. So why don't we do Olaf first? And now we can definitely get better value out of that. And yes, really hoping we can get lucky with the snack damage, and I did expect that. It's very obvious that we were going to play ourselves into a fantastic opportunity for them to Yenvo, but we still have good setup here. Might still be able to pick him off this snack with Hemdall, but that would be tricky. So I'm thinking it might be Svalbard right now. Technically, the longer we wait, the more units we're going to damage. 1, 2, 3, 4 is not quite going to be enough. Unless we get leader ability as well. Might still need to wait a bit. We don't really have much. Oh, well, I mean, we could just destroy you with Morkvar. Yeah, sure, I guess that's not a bad way to spend this turn if we're looking for something else to do. Sure. Not a card that we really want to have taken a bunch of damage, but to get rid of their defender, certainly not a bad thing. Okay, Vivian. Ooh. That's a bit unfortunate. So we were kind of trying to get rid of that snack. Okay, we might need to click on this Olaf, because he's not really going to get damaged much more now that we no longer have Melusine. Now there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We should have enough cards to have Svalbard do his thing. So I think that's probably what we're going to go for here. Oh, in fact, that will damage Olaf, so we should at least wait for that. So I think we go for that now. And the longer we wait, technically, the more effective it could become. But this is hopefully still good enough. And now we can do that, because I think that's going to be as good as it gets on Olaf. They could potentially have tall removal if they have Leo. Torres is going to give them more good cards. So they have lots of good options. Probably not going to get that much of a boost. There's their leader ability. Actually could, and really should have used that earlier on Olaf. But he's already been boosted. So he was already damaged. But now if they have tall removal, he is a very obvious target for that. Oh. No, I think we all know what's about to happen, and it's kind of terrifying. It's going to be a coup on Morkvarg, replay him against Olaf, which is going to stink. But what I'm eyeing now, I mean, we could pass here. In fact, they've not caught us, so we are in the lead. They would have to go a card down for the rest of the match if they wanted to win round 1 here. So that is pretty tempting, although I was eyeing the Rupture on the snack to remove it, put it into their graveyard, and then it backfires on them, and that does kind of give us some carryover value. Might have enough time to get through and banish everything to come up to our side. Not sure if that's going to be the case or not. It's kind of close at this point, in all likelihood. So maybe we do cut ourselves off here. I mean, they definitely will be able to catch us. It's just that they're going to have to go 2 cards down to win round 1 for that. A Beauclair would be another reason to, or another way in which they can benefit from us having a huge Olaf. So we've allowed this snack to live, so it will go into our graveyard. It will banish these things. And that means Fukusia is the card that probably suffers the most from that. Okay, if they try to get clever and play, then Tyr could be a little bit interesting. In fact, we could even leader ability plus Tyr, and that gives us the resilience, right? So that's a pretty strong throwaway. Draco Turtle, I mean, would have been great in the previous round when we had all of our self-damage going, but probably doesn't make a ton of sense at the moment. Lippy, I'm still unconvinced. And Camby is a meme, so we might want... Oh, well, actually, Camby is amazing when we have permanent card advantage. This could be an amazing opportunity for Camby. Speaking of amazing opportunities, though, I think we go 1 leader ability charge, which getting rid of that is actually not a bad thing. It helps for Bloodthirst, but otherwise is negative points. If we do this, it should allow us to do that and get 9 points of resilience. Which is certainly not bad, but as we were saying, speaking of carryover, they're going to get 7 points of carryover from this snack in all likelihood. We kind of let them do that. And now we get more self-damage with Fallblood Totem, which it doesn't really work anymore. Thoughtbjorn, we still have our 1 raid in our deck, Blood Eagle, right? Okay. And we should be able to get some warriors out if needed. So I think we can still get decent value out of that, assuming we can get the Bloodthirst or the Deathblow. So you're fine. You're not so fine. You're also not so fine. You're actually amazing. I'm not sure we're going to be able to make that. We could get a little bit of flexibility with Berna. There's Fukusia. That's actually kind of scary. Well, if we're quick, we could use Fukusia to get an Olaf. Granted, we just made a bunch of mulligans because we were not expecting to have self-damage set up here. We actually could use it on Snek, which might actually be the best play here because it removes 7 points that they're going to get onto the board, and it gives us 7 points. So I think that's actually best. So that's basically a 14-point swing. So I think we do that. Did not really see that coming, but yeah, it should work. It should work now. Granted, we're gonna have to randomly choose a row to put the rain on, and now they're just gonna avoid that row, but I think that's a small price to pay. Covenant to steal. Did they steal that from us? Oh no, they got it with that Torres. And they did stack their deck highest provision cost cards at the top with Jan, didn't they? So technically speaking, that gives us pretty good insight on what they've drawn into here. So they have low provision cost cards. We are pretty confident that they aren't going to get those. So like Leo comes to mind for tall removal. He's what, 9 or is he 10 provisions? They might not have drawn him. I don't think they have an answer for Sove regardless. But what was our plan for Sarah? Oh, we're gonna get some self-damage to set up Sarah's? Okay, we might just have to do that now. Yeah. Yeah, well, we had a plan for that. I don't remember what it was. I think it was Fukusia into something else. Well, Tibor might help. Not really sure. Do we have any alchemy cards in our starting deck? Are there any alchemy legendary cards? I don't know that there are. But, well, if it's the rightmost card in our hand, that's fine. We'll just discard it with Camby. Giving us additional card advantage is not something they want to do when we have Camby. If we could somehow purify this Tibor and remove him, that would be so incredible. But I don't think that we can. Oh, you are, however, a druid for Gettyneath. So that is something, I suppose. In fact, that might even be worth playing now. So we're kind of waiting for them to play bigger cards that we can actually interact with. So that we can use Hemdall. That, oh no, you have Veil. Oh, also Saris comes out. That's conveniently timed. But it means we have more self-damage support. Oh, it works though. It totally works though. The Drummond's Queen's cards are gonna have a field day. Okay. I love that. We can almost remove you with the Rupture, but not quite. We would need slightly more damage. We have a way to make that happen. If we were to use this, but it's not quite enough to get anything meaningful from the Blood Eagle. Okay, no, I think we can still do this. I think we can still do this. Gonna heal you, damage you, use you, and we can rinse repeat that. So you're going to take a bunch of damage, then we're going to Blood Eagle on you. Oh, you're going to get destroyed altogether? Okay, I guess that works too. All right, and now... Oh, because Melusine dealt damage to adjacent units. Gotcha. You have 1 damaged card. We can get a few more with our leader ability. Looking for that to be Sove set up, and that might be something we want to do pretty soon. Kraken might even need to be the target. So we don't have that many other beasts. We don't want to be giving them a Dire Bear. Could be Ulfhedden. How much damage are we going to get from that? I mean, either that or I guess we could go Ermion, although we were saying that might be the card that we end up discarding. We will get Berna. Yeah, I guess we'll go Ermion here. Just for this. Heal, damage, use. Need to be careful we don't run out of board space, though. So we are actually going to run pretty low here. Okay, you want to put a card back into our hands. You're giving us all these cards. Oh, that's not a bad one to do that too. But we'll get a little more board space. That's fine. We have 2 card advantages at this point, mind you. And we're going to use Camby, for sure. See, they have 2 damaged units now. Oh, Melusine is helping us in that regard. Actually, a lot. Okay, that's very interesting. So, this is all to help set up Sove and also get Bloodthirst for you, which technically could be active right now. If we were to do this. Oh, that stinks, because we're going to use Fabjorn to get you. So this might be the card we discard with Blood Eagle, or with, Camby in that case. I think we get rid of Saris. You'll come back out, and we can still do that. Granted, that might be the last turn we can do that, because we're gonna run out of board space, and in fact, we no longer have room for melee row stove. But the T-Bore might help us, because the T-Bore is removing stuff slowly. Terra Nova. They did give spine to a few things, Ernachad included. Okay, interesting. So we could Blood Eagle and get a death blow. And that would... we need melee row room for several cards, in fact. Several of our warriors here. To get Covenant to Steel, not really sure that matters too much. The Callus cannot survive a hit. You could... Herald... get... Nah, it's not going to have anything to get out from our graveyard. So, lots of options here. I mean, we're going to use Burna to get even more stuff going there. I could use Saris to destroy some things, to tell you the truth. That might be preferable. I think we'll go Hemdall. Just make sure we have enough room on the board to make that happen. He takes the hit and he survives. But then we could heal and destroy. So it's still positive points and it gives us board space in this melee row where we're particularly crowded. Okay, Ivar... It's too late for him to switch power, right? His Adrenaline is active. It's not that big of a deal. And so now... they only have 3 cards left here. So if we do have room in the melee row now, we're also eyeing a Blood Eagle. I mean, we have a lot of damage units on their end. Also, kind of like to use leader ability, but 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 damaged cards. So we use Sove. We should be able to destroy... We could go Ulfhedden. That might be the play. So that's pretty high tempo. So let's do that. The Kraken was bigger, but took a little more to make that work. Okay, I think we are healing, destroying. Once again, positive points, but giving us board space. Okay, Roy, that's pretty valuable. I mean, round 3, their deck is a little bit smaller, but that's still pretty big. They gave us board space in the melee row, which is really useful. So now we might even go Burna to combine with Iced. And we're gonna seriously run out of board space if we're not careful. I think we still heal and then destroy. Give us even more room. So we can then Burna. Oh. Yeah, these are interesting. I think it's Herald is more valuable. Because you're a warrior. Okay, Anna Henrietta. Anna. Oh, right. Get our leader. Oh, uh-oh. No! No, you didn't. Okay, except Saris is huge here. Saris is absolutely huge. I mean, we're still in the lead, but we must Canby them. We absolutely must Canby them. Hold on. We will heal, destroy, and then Canby. And they won't be able to take their last turn. And since we're already in the lead, that means we win. Alright, so going up against Nilfgaard here. And they'll go first. Okay, and so we could get the Kraken over on their side and then use you to destroy it and bring Kraken back to our side, which is pretty convenient. Not a huge fan of Ulfhedden. Not really sure we need to be too concerned about the boosting for Nilfgaard, but we'll see. Okay, well, Morkvar can certainly handle at least some of that. Not really sure we're gonna get much value out of a Lippy deck flip either, so I think I'm gonna dump you. A lot of things we could do to build around Melusine. Yeah, they're going for a Torres, and they can add some pretty valuable cards with that. They're gonna have relatively high provision, so yeah, not gonna get that big of a boost on him. But yeah, I imagine they're not gonna use that ordered ability, so he's pretty much gotten his main value already. I think we might start with Melusine here. There are some clever things you can do with her in just about any deck. But we'll go here. Actually, probably should have gone melee row, because Vobjorn might be our only cultist in hand, and he is melee row locked. Granted, since we have Blood Eagle in hand, I'm not really sure we have much of anything else to do with him. Yeah, we really don't. Okay, Kahir, we can move him if we would like to. With Kraken, we could also prevent him from getting boosted with Dire Bear. I mean, they're Imperial formations, so they don't have as much support for him as you might in a Toussaintois Hospitality deck, but they have all the legendary cards, so it is still possible they could make him be pretty impactful. So I guess we'll still drop the Dire Bear. So, I mean, that's about as big of a boosting threat as you can get, right? And then, I mean, we kind of like to wait on Melusine. Okay, Stefan, they might have a bazillion tactics in their starting deck. No, they don't. Okay. That actually kind of helps us. Now we can get boosted in the melee row. Granted, don't really think we're going to do much of that anyway. And I'd like to get something next to Melusine, increase her base power in case we happen to get a Fukusia later on and have the chance of bringing her back, because that could be some really solid value. Rather, there she is. But, yeah. Don't have great cards to put next to her right now. I'd like to save you, but on the other hand, might opt for that. Yeah, no cultists, so we can't reuse Melusine's order ability. I think we might even go... in that case, Sucrus next to Melusine is not that meaningful. We should put someone else here. We'll do this. Then I'm going to put Sucrus here to protect you. Yes, we could have gotten more value if we had waited, but we have a lot of stuff that fits that description, or it just doesn't work at all at the moment. Tibor. Possibly my least favorite card in the entire game, but you did probably give us the best card in our entire deck. Okay, so now... That'd be an amazing card to put Rupture on, but obviously we can't do that. Is there anything we could do that would be interesting against you? And I think we've just established that our later round win condition is going to be bring Melusine back with Fukusia once she gets higher base power. So, I mean, Sucrus is really valuable, but if we do push you here, it does make it a lot easier to sustain this combo and not worry about losing you. I guess we can at least do that. Yeah, we're not going to get Melusine's ability back, but so be it. Okay, Menno. For Abduction. Now, does this work for any card in our deck? Or does it work for none? Apparently, it's none. It's going to be one or the other. Okay, now this Kahir has been boosted up by 4, which is okay, but certainly not amazing Morkvarg value, so we could do that. I'd like to put someone here next to Melusine to further increase her base power. But once again, we just don't have great options. And we can hit someone for a whopping 2 damage, unless we were to set ourselves up a little bit of leader ability. We could get the Death Blow, Blood Eagle, and bring out... Who do we want in that case? Might even be Covenant to Steel. Is that a... Does he count as a warrior? I actually forget. Do this. Sove. Also tempting, but probably would have required a little more setup. A little more proactive setup. I'm going to put you here, because you do work well next to Melusine. Probably were some cultists in there that we could have considered, but now it makes it much harder for them to access Melusine, and we have decent setup for her. So again, that's in large part what we're building around here. Okay. Fair enough. But one of the reasons why we put that defender there, so that you couldn't just do that to Melusine. Now... It's getting a little tougher. Wild Boar the Sea is also usually a very good finisher. It has some setup here, but not amazing setup. I mean, we might be looking at a Morkvarg here, as much as I'd like to save you. Okay, Leo... No! Okay. How much base power did we get on Melusine? Because we can still bring her back in a later round. Up to 13, which is certainly not bad, but would have probably liked to have seen at least a little bit more, so this could have been a really good value play. It's still good, but it's not quite as amazing as I would have hoped. But Wild Boar the Sea now has 3 damaged cards and 4 cards total on the board, so that's not terrible. It also means that Madman Lugos is becoming a more viable option. Could outright remove, although we don't really want to do that if we are anticipating we might use Wild Boar the Sea later. Don't really love Kraken, because we did get... Oh, well, actually, hold on. Hold on. We used Kraken. And now we are going to lose that Leo. But we can Madman Lugos, which should be enough to, if not completely destroy Kraken, get ourselves really close. Okay, and remember, they played Tibor, so they gave us an extra card. And it, it's timing-wise, this was a little bit awkward, but if we go here, that's what we should do. He'll come back out, get a boost, and we will take the round 1 win on even. Okay, so we draw into Sov, which can be really good with our leader ability, as long as we have a decent target for that, and Melusine is a clever one that we probably would have liked. Might have to be Camby or Ulfheden, which are much less impactful. Definitely don't want to take the risk on Olaf unless we get a ton of damage. Get rid of Blood Eagle, we can get you with Vabjorn. That might still be worth doing. There is Olaf. I think we can probably do better than this, except a Bear Witcher Mentor is actually not bad when combined with Wild Boar of the Sea. Still, get rid of that. And Hjalmar gives us some flexibility here. If we don't, for whatever reason, want to get Melusine out on the board, we could banish her and get 13 damage, which is amazing removal potential, or we could still do that and go for 8 points of damage by getting rid of Dire Bear. Either way, we're on even cards here, so we could try pass, force them to go a card down, and give us double last say in round 3. That is nice, or we could try to push. And we do have pretty solid tempo here, so that is not a terrible idea. In fact, their leader ability is Imperial Formation. That might be tempting. That might be tempting. With something, what would Sov give us? What if we do... this? Sov. It's going to be a small target. But do that. I may have gotten my math wrong. I may have forgotten exactly how Sov calculates the damage that he does and assumed that that was still going to be enough to remove Camby. Ultimately, though, they did not catch us. And so that is, by and large, what matters here, as we did make our leader ability a little bit stronger from a pure pointage standpoint. Now, less Bloodthirst setup. But it means we have better tempo there in round 3. They would still need to go a card down and still give us double assay. If we were to end here, we could still... Wild Boar of the Sea is going to remove all this stuff. That is one card we have that is more of a long-term, long-round card, whereas most of the other things were point slams, including so. But you could end here. You could do this and get the Camby Death Wish triggered. Both are a little bit tempting. Sure, we'll do it. And we'll commit to a shorter round 3. That's basically the idea here, is that we're reducing the length of round 3 and hopefully still forcing them to go a card down, if not potentially even more. Let's see if they have a way to... I don't think they can answer Sov when he has the immune, because they obviously can't have any neutral cards. Doadric is not fast enough. And there's a chance that if we pass now, they may not even be able to catch us with one more turn. With their leader ability, they can probably still make it happen. So I'm thinking we probably do pass here. Although, once again, you could still make the case for pushing further. And we could do something like Hjalmar, banish that Dire Bear, destroy you. That's not bad. So, you know what? I might still do that. So that's an 11-point play, and it does seem like they are struggling with the high tempo options here. And since we still have high tempo, we are still in good shape if it's a short round 3. Oh, that's a lot of tempo, though. But no Zeal. So I think that means this is the place where we pass. We know this is going to be valuable, this order ability, but doesn't matter. They're still going to have to go a card down to use it. So this is where we draw the line. There we see they're definitely going to have enough points. That's why we bailed when we did. But the damage is by and large done. So they'll win round 2. And so our plan is high tempo with Fukusia, Olaf to a certain extent. Croc? Not really. Berna, Saris. Well, if we get Fukusia to bring back a Melusine, that actually could have some Saris synergies. A little bit, if we're mindful of our positioning here. Don't think we want Berna, though. In fact, they realize we have way too much tempo, and so they just forfeit. So there's a look at a Skellige Legendary only deck for the new Our Battle Will Be Legendary seasonal event. If you liked the video, then make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and leave a comment down below to let me know which other cards, archetypes, and factions we should experiment with next. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you next time.